Welcome to Stuff's Cup Wrap with Duncan Johnson. I'm Todd, Niall, and here we are at the start of the Prada Cup final, the series that determines which team will take on Team New Zealand and which team goes home. And it's an interesting one, isn't it, Duncan? Because every time we get to a new phase of this competition, you know, the dynamics and the relative strengths seem to change. It's hard to pick.
Yeah, without doubt, and a lot of, big time break here, 3 weeks for the British and sort of better part of 2 weeks for the Italians, so plenty of time to work on boat improvements and cruise systems, and they've both made no secret that they've been tinkering a lot. The challenge for the British is to get their lower end performance in the wind range better, and they realise they're up against a pretty good all-round boat in Rossa. So there's plenty been going on. It's looking like an even sort of final, Prada Cup final.
In your heart or your stomach or both, does this feel different to the last time you met?
For sure, because I feel this cup really mine in terms of obviously I consider that this one my real cup campaign on leading the team, because the last time we obviously pull out. So it's a special moment for me personally, but mainly is an important moment for the team, for Patricia, Tom, and our sponsor.
We've seen some close races. For spectators, are we going to see racing that looks different to what we've seen so far?
It's a good question. A lot will depend on the developments of both teams. As we talked about, both teams have been working hard. Of course, they have to try and improve their performance. We won't really know the results of that until we line up on Saturday and get on the race course. And that will define how the teams then approach the racing from there on in, what their strategy and the tactics are. It'd be fascinating to see.
The elements could come into it in terms of the wind.
Yeah, there's that storm that's lurking up further north, probably not coming into play this weekend, but maybe later.
Yes, regatta director Ian Murray indicating that Saturday could be lightish, but it's building, and Sunday could be really ideal conditions. So the British will need to be on their game on Saturday. Things could play into their hands a bit more on Sunday. The worry is a long-range forecast in terms of the resumption of racing on Wednesday, where it could be too strong. So interesting too, Todd, that they've decided to keep the upper wind limit at 21 knots. Yep. It was going to be up to 23. You sense some...
Bit of a niggle going on there.
Yes, the British are very disappointed. Sabine Ainsley didn't really bite into it too much, but you sense that they're disappointed in terms of setting up their boat for the high end of things, and then to get a couple of knots pulled out of you. Ian Murray sort of explained that the concerns were they start these races in 21 knots and then you get conditions that quickly increase, particularly around North Head, where you could be suddenly racing 24, 25 knots. Now they're starting 23 knots. Even Sabine said you're getting up to 27 knot gusts, then you are getting in danger territory, and it's got to be a race rather than a survival.
As part of that interesting intrigue of the America's Cup, where these rule changes are not decided by the two competing teams, but by, in this case, one of the teams representing all of the challengers and Team New Zealand, and obviously in a few issues, INEOS and Ben Ainsley are getting outvoted.
Yeah, you sense with the challenger record in this regatta, Rossa perhaps doesn't have the interests of the other challengers at heart, and we've seen that in a couple of issues. So yeah, it's been a bit of a prickly one, to say the least.
I'm not going to get into a tit for tat about the rules of the America's Cup. It's not. None of these changes are our decision. We've had to abide by the challenger record and defender. We know that's the game, that's the situation, and all we can do is focus on doing the best job we can.
Some great characters at the helms: Ben Ainsley, Jimmy Spithill, Francesco Bruni. A lot of talk about work on the simulators and how the starts will be different. Do you think they will?
I think these guys are getting much more confident throwing these boats around now. Look, they've had the better part of 3 months in these in their new boats, and the confidence has come with that. They both made it clear that all the work you do on the simulator can go out the window once the heat of battle starts, and you can be sure with Ben Ainsley and Jimmy Spithill, these guys know each other really well. They've been teammates before. They've won the America's Cup together with Oracle, but they're fierce competitors, and Spithill didn't get his nickname the Pitbull for no reason. I think that's going to be a key element, particularly if the boats are as close as they're talking. The start is going to be absolutely crucial.
Fascinating stuff coming up in the Prada Cup final. As ever with this new series, with the new boats, no one actually knows who's going to look best when they come together for the first race, and we'll be having a look at that on the next Stuff Cup Wrap.